So today let's examine the lyrics. The first verse here establishes the characters. There seems to be a first-person narrator who apparently is the husband and dad of a suburban family. We got the you in If You Need Me. That seems to be his wife. They seem like the kind of people who are just doing what's expected of them and don't really think much about any sort of deeper meaning to life. Plus, from these lines here, it seems that they kind of resent their kids, but without the kids, they'd just be bored anyway because they don't have anything else going on than just checking off the to-do list of suburban life and raising kids. This first verse also establishes the setting really well, that it is definitely in American suburbs where you have to take the freeway to get there, and that most people think of it as a good place to settle down, and that they have a single-family home, a house. Plus, I like the way that he kind of delineates these very stereotypical gender roles by you got your very own bathroom, I got my very own workshop in the basement. It both accomplishes some character fleshing out and sets up for the chorus. The chorus, of course, illustrates how they are really not having a great time and they are sticking their heads in the sand about their lives. Then we get to the second verse, and this seems to be about them trying even harder to do all of the things they're supposed to do. They're keeping up with the Joneses. They're showing that, yes, we're patriots just like you guys, and we're stylish. We go to Byerly's or wherever, and we have lots of stuff. Apparently, they've never had real friends, and probably their fake friends have just gotten sick of them. Also, apparently, the husband has a drinking problem. In the bridge, people who hate their lives complain about stuff, but in this case, he's trying to make polite conversation, so the complaining is leaking through in this form. It also talks about how, bad the traffic is, and it's the kind of lack of clear thinking that a lot of people who this character reminds me of, the kind of thinking that they have. The last verse is quite creepy. It shows like total despair, and it reminds me of Colton's newer song, Good Morning Tucson. There's a last verse that's kind of like this, where it's a lot of very colorful and unrealistic and surreal imagery. It also uses the house as a symbol for the life that the narrator is trapped in. And this seems to be the ultimate despair, like there never was any other answer. It's such a deep thought in such plain language. And before the final chorus, we are left with this image of the cars, their headlights rolling across the sky. And I think of that as him being envious of people who he thinks are much happier than him. Finally, also during that last verse, we get these two quotes from the radio. It's not completely obvious what these are meant to say, but my theory is that they refer to the setting and the emotions of the characters. I don't think that even Colton himself is entirely sure of what he means by this one, because when he wrote the song, he wrote in his blog, he felt a little goofy to put it in there, but it gave him chills. So he doesn't comment directly on exactly what this means, but it certainly fits the emotional tone of the rest of the song. And then we get a chorus, and it's the end of the song. So, fantastic example of peppy music, extremely dark lyrics.